Good morning out there. Hello there. My name's Ian. This is my podcast in relation to my book, Living with Mitochondria Against All Odds. If you haven't already got it, please go and check it out on Amazon. As I say, it's in relation to my book, Living with Mitochondria Against All Odds. I have mitochondria. I'm in a wheelchair and I can't see properly. But we still get up to all different kinds of things. For example, I mentioned last week, it was 2 weeks ago, the following Wednesday, well, it wasn't last Wednesday, it was this Wednesday, due to unseen circumstances, I couldn't go last week. I went canoeing with York Canoe Club. And I've done that several times over the years, starting in about 1998, on and off. But I generally just do it on the flat. I have been whitewater canoeing in the past, but it is quite scary for any sighted person, it must be quite scary because they can see all the waves coming, but when you can only hear with the water, it is quite scary. And people have said to me, I've tried shutting my eyes, but it's not quite the same because you can open them again and you can see what there is. But it was to me, personally, it's quite a feat to get down there and to get on the water. I was more worried about my knee, walking down the steps and then getting back up the steps at the end of the night. But they were quite welcoming, and at least two people helped me down the steps. So quite steep steps down to the river, the jetty where we set off from. But two people helped me down the steps. And at least one person stuck near me and paddled at the side of me, mainly more so to make sure I don't bump into any rowing boats or cruise boats. These boats that university rowing boats, a bit like Oxford or Cambridge. That are on the river, and as soon as you see one, people just shout "skull," so it means move to the side, because there's a big boat coming that you can't argue with, or you shouldn't try and argue with it anyway. But no, it was good for the first couple of minutes. When I got in the boat, I thought, oh, crikey, what am I doing? Meaning, can I balance this thing? But then after the first couple of minutes, it comes back to you. And I just turned around to someone and said, it's just like riding a bike. It's not like riding a bike, but in the sense that you never forget what you're doing. And I was quite tired towards the end of it. With my power assist wheelchair, I pushed myself down to the river, and then afterwards I pushed myself back, and it was, and then after, like I said, when I pushed myself back, I pushed myself up. If anyone knows York, up Skeldergate, and then along Micklegate, and I went in Wetherspoons for a couple of deserved ciders and a plate of chips. I might knock the plate of chips on the head because the cider was only £2.40, but it was about £7 odd was the first round, which was a plate of chips. So I thought, I might knock that on the head and maybe take a Scotch egg with me next time, because as I may have said in the past, I am gluten intolerant, so we make gluten-free Scotch eggs, which I keep several in the freezer all the time. Well, not all the time, because I eat them. And I have to take them out the freezer to have them, but so I might take one of them, because now and again I do break the rules. In terms of, when I call breaking the rules, I mean eating gluten. I do break the rules now and again, but I try and stick to things. So I rather than have beer, I usually drink cider. And I don't have too much, because obviously if I'm trying to get myself home, pushing a wheelchair when you can't see properly is one thing, but pushing a wheelchair when you've had a few to drink and you can't see is another totally thing altogether. But I mean, trying to paddle on the river when you can't see what you're doing, but people keep an eye on me, and the boat I use is an open top boat, sit on top as they're called. So if you fall in the water, you fall in the water, there's nothing holding you in. Although I think if you were using that type of boat to do white water, you would be able to get some attachments to actually keep you strapped to the boat. So I believe anyway, which is one thing I'm not going to do in the near distant future. I do tell people that I'm too sensible for white water, but I don't think anyone believes me, due to the skydives, the wing walks, the climbing Snowdon, the bungee jumps, several crazy things that I've done over the years. Not to mention pushing myself down mountains skiing. But no one believes me when I say, I'm too sensible for white water. And I think part of the problem is getting onto the water itself, because usually you've got a big walk from the car to the actual river. And unless I use my wheelchair with the free wheel, lifts the front two wheels of the wheelchair up, so it can go over rough terrain. But no, it was brilliant, and I'll be canoeing, hopefully. As long as people are there to help me, I'll be canoeing every Wednesday throughout the summer. But no, thank you very much for listening. Again, this is my podcast in relation to my book, Living with Mitochondria Against All Odds. And it's my autobiography, but you may hear stories from the book, me elaborating on them, or just talking about other things that I have been doing since the book came out. And again, as I say, it's just to show people that even though you can't see, you can't walk, your muscles are getting weaker, you are still able to get on with things. So yeah, anyway, thank you for listening, and please check my book out, Living with Mitochondria Against All Odds, and I will speak to you very soon. Okay, thank you. See you soon. Goodbye.